tonight. A woman is dead after what appears to be an unprovoked attack near one of the city's busiest intersections.
This is extraordinarily tragic.
The gentleman ran across the street and they kind of pinned him with the car right against here.
The suspect now in custody. This latest act of violence has some questioning safety in the city, and Toronto police urging people to be more cautious. Plus,
we're really trying to use this exhibit as a method to bring awareness to the site.
a new exhibit is taking visitors on a journey through the history of Ontario Place, showcasing its evolution over the past 50 years, just as the park gets set to be redeveloped once again. And
players from around the world have descended on Toronto to play some hockey, but this is not your typical hockey tournament. I'm Greg Ross, and what makes this tournament special is the fact that all of the players are legally blind. We'll have more on the Blind Hockey League coming up.
good evening. I'm Kelda Yoon. A woman is dead and a man under arrest tonight after a shocking daytime assault that has left some in the city on edge. The attack, believed to be unprovoked, happening at a busy downtown intersection just before the lunch hour. Katie Nicholson has more.
Hayden Johnston is rattled after a dramatic arrest outside his restaurant.
They kind of pinned him with the car right against here. Right against here. And then all of a sudden, cops everywhere. Maybe 10, 12 cop cars. And they had him here, had him on the ground, loaded him up and took him away.
The suspect taken into custody after what police say appears to be an unprovoked attack just before noon. An elderly woman shoved to the ground. She died shortly after. Why it happened, still unclear.
This is extraordinarily tragic, and again, it's another tragic circumstance in a series of tragic circumstances. It pains me greatly that this happens in our city.
In June, a man set a woman on fire on a bus. In December, a man stabbed 2 women at a subway station. And there have been multiple reports of strangers attempting to push people onto subway tracks, sometimes succeeding. The blood pooling on the sidewalk after this latest attack, not the only mark left behind.
I'm a little bit afraid of walking now and to work here because you don't know what happened next.
Well, seems like the city is getting a little bit dangerous now.
I think it is difficult times for a lot of people, so I think that there's a lot of anger going around and things happen. I think you have to be a little more careful walking the streets of Toronto.
Toronto police, too, urging people to be more cautious.
Be very mindful of your surroundings and understand that these attacks do happen.
So many reasons to not feel safe. But even Johnston, so close to today's attack, says he feels okay.
I walk to and from work every day, and there hasn't been a point in the city in my 12 or 15 years of living here that I've felt unsafe.
Not everyone feels that way, and the mayor knows it, saying tonight the city needs to invest in anti-violence initiatives and more police here in the downtown. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
A man has been arrested after allegedly trying to push another man onto the subway tracks at Rosedale Station this afternoon. Police say they responded to the station at Yonge and Crescent Road just before 12:30. The victim managed to escape without injury, and the suspect was arrested a short time later. Police say this incident is not connected to the deadly assault we just told you about at Yonge and King. And Toronto police are asking for the public's help in identifying this man who is wanted for an alleged sexual assault at Kennedy Station in Scarborough. They say he followed someone into a TTC washroom and assaulted them. The incident happened on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. The suspect is described as being 30 to 40 years old, 5'4", with a medium build. A group of teenage boys has been charged after allegedly stealing nearly more than $1 million worth of gold and silver from a precious metals store in downtown Toronto last month.
The good news is that nobody was physically injured in this incident. And the additional good news is that we were able to take this loot and return it back to the rightful owner. So the precious metals dealer did get the gold and silver back. And it's a bit of a success story in that sense, too.
Police showing the recovered goods in a video today. They say 3 masked teens robbed the Bloor Street store at gunpoint on December 10th and fled to a nearby vehicle where a 4th teen was waiting. They were all later arrested. 2 15-year-olds and 2 17-year-olds now face a total of 40 charges. Investigators believe the suspects are part of a crime group involved in a series of armed robberies in the GTA. Upselling of health services and two-tier medicine are concerns being raised as the province goes ahead with its plan to move more surgeries into private clinics. Now, one woman says it already happened to her even before these changes when she needed cataract surgery. Lorenda Redekop has the story.
I seriously was not interested in the upscale models.
When Michelle Brill-Edwards needed cataract surgery, she decided she wanted the procedure covered by OHIP. She's a retired doctor and public health advocate. It was the hospital in Ottawa that arranged her appointment. She was surprised to learn she'd see the surgeon at a private clinic, the Herzig Eye Institute. She received different options for a procedure there, more than $1,800, possibly more. The most expensive laser surgery, more than $5,000.
When the highly qualified surgeon tells you, here's the range of options, and you can do this and it will cost you one thing, and you can do that and it'll cost you more. Most people would say, well, you're the boss. What do you think? What do you recommend?
She opted for the OHIP-covered surgery in hospital, even though the wait was a year. At the clinic, it would have taken just 4 to 6 weeks. She also spoke with the clinic administrator.
When I asked about the standard lenses that are used in hospital, just said, I have no knowledge of that. And we don't use those lenses here.
This week, Herzig's Ottawa location was just approved for 5,000 OHIP-covered surgeries a year. Up until now, they didn't have that option. They've only used lenses that aren't covered. The company sent a brief statement saying it looks forward to providing OHIP-insured services once they have their independent health facility designation. But Brill-Edwards worries locations used to charging will still be recommending that option.
My concern is that the upselling of much more expensive lenses is quite likely to continue.
This week, the health minister was asked about possible upselling.
If there are examples where someone was not given the option of the OHIP funded and only given the upgraded model, then they have the ability right now in the province of Ontario to ask for an investigation through the Ministry of Health.
The government has repeatedly said that having private clinics will not result in patients having to pay. A spokesperson for the minister confirms that if someone chooses a more expensive lens, the clinic will receive the OHIP amount from the government, with the patient paying the rest. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Let's go to Kim McDonald now from the Weather Network for a first check on your forecast. And Kim, how's the weekend looking?
Kelda, it's not going to be a bad weekend. The first half of it, we may even see a little peek of sun. So I want to start off with something positive because the long-range forecast, well, may leave something to be desired for some. Let's begin with our overnight temperatures. It should be around -10 this time of year in most cities across southern Ontario, so it's milder than that. We're looking at -3. Windsor could see some passing flurries through the overnight. There's your Saturday morning, and this is the best time to see any kind of sunshine. So it's a reason not to sleep in. I know a lot of people are like, but it's Saturday. But I'm just saying, if you care to see a little bit of sun, the morning is the best time to do it, because by the afternoon, we're looking at overcast conditions. Temperatures are still mild, however, +1 is above seasonal. We're still above the freezing mark. There's our little bit of clearing on Saturday morning. By Saturday afternoon, clouds again. By Sunday, we are into some snow, and I will be back with all the details in a little bit.
Okay, thanks so much, Kim. A new exhibit showcasing the past, present, and future of Ontario Place opened tonight. It runs until the end of the month and aims to engage more people in the conversation of what Ontario Place means to the city and its residents. This, as a polarizing plan is now on the table to redevelop the iconic site. Dale Manukduk has the story.
The nostalgia of Ontario Place was on display tonight.
The idea of passive and active spaces, so passive being somewhere where people can really more relax, socialize, be closer to nature.
Its history documented through photos and interactive maps showing how it's changed since opening in 1971. An exhibit for all.
So the intention of the project is to really bring awareness to Ontario Place as a site and to also showcase that the public really do have a voice that needs to be heard.
That's because a proposal to redevelop the iconic site is in motion. The city is currently reviewing plans to turn it into a sprawling private water park and spa with underground parking for more than 2,000 vehicles.
So we were actually just talking about it. We really liked the design of it, thought it was really different, but overall really cool, yeah.
But the plan is also drawing its share of criticism.
Like really, we're looking at the McDonald's of spas that they want to put on this special space that's meant for every Ontarian. Shouldn't cost $200 for a couple hours for a family to go visit.
Some want it to look and feel the way it used to, even those who never had the chance to visit and only learned about it.
I wanted to be there, and I wanted to, how do we recreate that? How do we make that place come back to life? Why are we going to take away a park that's used and loved by so many people to this day?
We got to have our voices heard.
That's the voice of Spadina Fort York Councillor Asma Malik. City Council has approved guided principles to maintain public access. Malik is concerned about potentially $300 million of taxpayer money going towards funding a private development.
On this precious gem of our waterfront, that's a terrible use of our public dollars, and we have to do better. I'm going to be using the process along with so many members of our community to make sure that our voices are heard.
The controversial proposal has been in the works for more than a year and needs to be approved by the city to move ahead. Visitors who attended the exhibit wrote notes that are intended to be delivered to Premier Doug Ford and Mayor John Tory. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
The Lunar New Year is just around the corner. Millions of people around the world will be marking the occasion this weekend, including right here in the GTA. Ellie Chiasson caught up with Canada's national lion dance team as they get ready to usher in the Year of the Rabbit.
For the Canadian National Lion Dance Team, Lunar New Year is their Super Bowl.
Chinese New Year is definitely our busiest season.
While it's called lion dance, it's really a sport.
We do wushu, which is a form of martial arts, and that gets our bodies ready.
The troupe trains out of a school in Scarborough called the Wushu Project. Here they are performing for students at U of T. Then the festivals really begin this weekend.
A lot of hard work. Yeah, we train like 6 days a week, and it's just nice to work as a team, and like you're with your friends, and it's just so fun.
There's a series of pulleys and strings attached, right? So if I'm inside of it, it'll move the string and it will pull down the eyes. So when I blink, pull the string, the ears also move at the back.
I find it so like friendly and sweet.
Yes, so in the past the lion was created to scare off a monster down the mountain. But now, yeah, they look more friendly now, so a lot of people hire them for birthday parties, weddings, grand openings, and obviously Chinese New Year.
The lion head is like, it's like the brain, so I make all the decisions, and I tell the tail, Roy, what to do, and I'm the eyes, so he can't see, so I have to lead him around and make sure he doesn't hit anything.
And so you're communicating in there in the lion costume?
Yeah, most of the time it's like when I'm moving, then he can feel where I'm going and he follows me. But otherwise, if we're doing a trick, then yeah, I just turn back and I tell him. It's nice to know like I'm tapping into my own culture, and it's like tradition from so long ago. So like my dad's happy that I'm doing it too, and just doing it for other people, making people smile and be happy is just so great for me.
And that's kind of perfect for the new year we're ushering in, Year of the Rabbit, as Toronto author Arlene Chan explains.
So this year is going to be a year where there's going to be, I think, more peace, more quiet, more time to reflect on what's happened and what's going to be coming in the future. The history goes back thousands of years for when the lion dance was there to scare away bad luck and to bring in good luck. And that's why with lion dances, you have the drums and the gong. Again, that was to scare away the bad luck and the evil spirits and to make places a safer place.
And what if that monster or evil spirits we're warding off today is the last 3 hard years?
The lion dance is so, so special, so much an important part of our Chinese New Year celebration.
Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome back. A Toronto man is the first patient in Canada to have knee replacement surgery with a robotic device. The surgery took place at Toronto Western Hospital, and so far his recovery is going smoothly. As Tali Ricci reports, the surgeon says the device saves time, resources, and helps with a faster recovery.
Well, this is how the knee looks now.
When 75-year-old Stephen Gotal spoke with a surgeon about his knee replacement, he was met with an unexpected proposal. How would he like to be the first patient in the country to get the surgery with a new robotic device at Toronto Western Hospital?
I just asked you one question. Did you practice before on it?
Gotal agreed. Here he is walking just hours after the surgery.
Well, you can see it's not just the two bones that we have in the knee.
Dr. Michael Zyweel says the robotic device allows the team to more accurately plan and execute the surgery for patients.
The robot lets us very accurately perform the exact cuts that we want to perform, just because of the precision with which it makes those cuts. And also by doing that, there's less trauma to all the tissues that are around the knee. And ultimately what that means is getting out of hospital sooner, recovering faster, and getting back to the things they want to do in their regular life.
The surgeon says using the device also eliminates the need for preoperative scans and less equipment is required to perform the surgery.
If you're reducing the amount of equipment that you have to reprocess and re-sterilize between every case, it's very likely that what you're saving is some, people requirements on the back end.
Toronto Western Hospital performs around 700 knee replacement surgeries per year, but Dr. Zyweel says often patients aren't satisfied with the outcome. Many continue to experience pain and complications afterward. This technology is expected to improve those results.
If you can make even a small dent in that proportion of people who struggle with their recovery, who struggle to get a good outcome, all that's going to do is going to free up more resources so we can look after all the other people with knee arthritis and who need our care.
Zyweel says his team will also have the opportunity to train other staff from hospitals in the GTA and internationally on how to use the device.
What excites me is really the opportunity to further advance and improve the quality of the care for our patients.
One by one.
As for Gotal, he's excited to get back to cycling and swimming once he's made a full recovery.
I'm very comfortable. I don't use the walker at all anymore. And I'm very glad I did it. Very glad I did it.
Tali Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
You are looking at a live shot of the Toronto skyline, partly cloudy tonight with a few light flurries. Currently, it is sitting at the 0 mark downtown. Let's go back to Kim now for a look at your extended forecast. And Kim, we will soon see another system moving in.
Kelda, the weekend's here, but I want to take us even beyond the weekend, end of January, because kind of on the horizon. So this is the storm track that we're going to be on for a while. There's the jet stream. There's southern Ontario. So these lows are going to track along the jet. They're close. They're sideswiping us with snow, but it's not a direct hit. That will be saved for our friends in Atlantic Canada. So what does that look like for the weekend? So we get rid of the snow that we've had, just some light flurries on Friday. Not everybody saw some. There's our next system moving in, just as we suspect. So the low pressure system is just south of the Great Lakes, but it is enough to bring snow our way for Sunday. The other thing is that the next few systems that come in are not going to be the messy mix that we've seen in the past. So we have seen rain and freezing rain and ice pellets and snow, and then everything melts if you got anything at all, because temperatures have been so mild, right? We've been above that freezing mark. So that makes things a little bit different. In the coming days, temperatures are going to be cool enough that it's just straight snow, which is a lot easier for forecasters. Oh, it's -3. All right, this is going to be all snow. So there's your weekend in a nutshell. Monday evening, things start to clear out. Looking back at the month so far, so we're getting beyond, Blue Monday, we're beyond the shortest day of the year, and January has been by and large very mild. All the cold air well to the north up towards Nunavut, but that cold air, symbolized in this purple, does that make sense? Symbolized? Is starting to dip down. So we also like to call this the polar vortex. Little pieces of this Arctic air start to slide south, and that means that temperatures are also on the way down for southern Ontario. So it's mild on Saturday afternoon, temperatures about the same on Sunday, and then in the long range, that's when things start to get a little cooler.
Finally tonight, the Mattamy Athletic Center is hosting the first ever Carnegie Cup. It's a 3-day hockey tournament where all of the players taking part are legally blind. As Greg Ross explains, it's part of a much bigger initiative to change the culture in hockey and make it more inclusive.
At first glance, it looks like any other hockey game. But it's far more impressive when you realize all of these players are visually impaired.
We have the best blind hockey players that were available for the tournament, that we're aware of in the world.
Most of these players are from Canada and the US, but some have come from as far away as England to be a part of this.
It's allowing more blind people in other countries to learn to find a sport that they love as well.
In order to be eligible to compete in this tournament, players are required to have only 10% vision or less. Goaltenders, like Joey Cabral, must be completely blind. And to make sure there's no cheating, they also have to wear eye coverings. In blind hockey, goalies rely on their hearing to follow the puck.
It's 3 times bigger, I would say, and it's made out of metal, and it has about 8 bell bearings in there that rattle. As long as it's on the ice and it's moving, it's you can hear it. But once it's off the ground and it's in the air, really, it's just an instinct.
This 3-day tournament is a showcase event for the Carnegie Initiative, an organization launched about 1.5 years ago in honor of the late Herb Carnegie, a black hockey player who faced enormous racism while trying to build a career in the game during the 1940s and 1950s.
It's really a continuation of the amazing work that the Carnegie family has done really over 60 years.
The goal of this initiative is to bring more inclusivity to hockey. When it comes to blind hockey, they hope this can grow into something much bigger.
They're talking about an ongoing competitive blind hockey league across Canada.
There's a lot of kids that grow up that want to play hockey and other sports, and we want to make sure that they have that opportunity.
This tournament runs all weekend, with the final game being played on Sunday. Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
And that is our show for you tonight and for the week. Thank you so much for watching. Shannon Martin has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. I will see you back here on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone.